Welcome back to Mindset Hub Tube, the place where ideas don't just inform you, they reshape you. Where books are not summarized, they are felt. Where growth is not theoretical, it is personal. Today, we're diving into a truth that silently controls almost every outcome in your life, whether you admit it or not. A truth that decides who keeps going and who gives up, who builds the life they want and who keeps waiting for someday. This is the power of self-discipline. If you've ever promised yourself you'd start tomorrow and didn't, if you've ever known exactly what to do yet still didn't do it, if you've ever felt frustrated with yourself, wondering why motivation disappears the moment things get uncomfortable, then this story is about you. Because self-discipline isn't about being strong all the time. It's about what you do when you're tired, distracted, emotional, and tempted to quit. And that's exactly where most people lose. Peter Hollins doesn't begin this journey by calling you weak. He begins by telling you the truth. You're not broken, you're not lazy, you're human, and your brain is designed to avoid pain, discomfort, and effort. Every time you choose the easier option, every time you procrastinate, every time you abandon a habit halfway through, it's not because you lack potential. It's because your mind is doing what it evolved to do, conserve energy and seek comfort. But here's the quiet danger no one warns you about. Comfort today becomes regret tomorrow. Avoiding discomfort now slowly builds a life you don't recognize later. Self-discipline is not about punishment. It's not about forcing yourself through misery. It's about training your mind to work for you instead of against you. And like any form of training, it doesn't happen in dramatic moments. It happens in small, unglamorous choices made again and again. Most people think self-discipline is something you either have or you don't. Hollins dismantles this myth immediately. Discipline is not a personality trait, it's a skill. And skills are built through practice, not intention. Wanting to be disciplined means nothing if your daily actions don't support it. Think about how many times you felt inspired after watching a video or reading a quote only to fall back into old patterns within days. Motivation fades because it relies on emotion. Discipline lasts because it relies on systems. Motivation says, I feel like doing this. Discipline says, this is who I am, so this is what I do. The uncomfortable truth is that discipline often feels boring. It feels repetitive. It doesn't give you instant rewards, and that's why so many people fail. They expect progress to feel exciting. They expect growth to feel dramatic, but real growth usually feels quiet. Sometimes it even feels invisible. Hollins explains that your mind is constantly negotiating with you. Every time you plan to do something difficult, your mind whispers reasons to delay. Just 5 more minutes. You deserve a break. Start tomorrow when you feel better. These thoughts don't sound dangerous, they sound reasonable. That's why they work. Self-discipline begins with awareness, not changing behavior yet, just noticing. Noticing when you lie to yourself, noticing when you rationalize, noticing when you trade long-term fulfillment for short-term relief. This awareness alone can feel uncomfortable because it removes the illusion that something external is holding you back. The truth is hard to swallow, but powerful once accepted. No one is coming to save you from your own habits. Hollins emphasizes that willpower is not infinite. You don't fail because you lack character. You fail because you rely on willpower instead of structure. Willpower is like a battery. It drains throughout the day. Every decision, every emotional reaction, every temptation pulls from the same limited source. When you rely on willpower alone, you're setting yourself up to fail by evening. This is why people swear they'll eat healthy, work out, read, and be productive, and then collapse into distraction at night. It's not weakness, it's biology. The disciplined life isn't built by trying harder. It's built by making discipline easier, by removing friction for good habits and adding friction to bad ones, by designing your environment so the right choice becomes the obvious choice. Hollins shares a powerful idea. Your environment shapes your behavior more than your intentions ever will. If your phone is always within reach, distraction will win. If junk food is visible, temptation will win. If your goals are vague, excuses will win. Self-discipline starts when you stop trusting future you to be stronger than present you. Future you is not more disciplined. Future you is just as human. The only difference is whether you prepared for that moment or not. One of the most damaging beliefs people hold is that they'll feel ready before they act. Ready is a feeling. Discipline is an action. You don't wait to feel disciplined, you act your way into discipline. Action comes first. Confidence follows later. Hollins introduces the idea of 5-minute discipline. Not because 5 minutes is magical, but because resistance is strongest at the beginning. Starting is the hardest part. Once you begin, momentum often carries you further than you expected. 5 minutes lowers the psychological barrier. Your brain stops panicking, it stops negotiating, it stops resisting. 5 minutes feels safe, non-threatening, and that's how discipline sneaks past fear. You don't build self-discipline by transforming your life overnight. You build it by proving to yourself daily that you can keep promises even when they're small. Every kept promise strengthens your identity. Every broken promise weakens it. And identity is everything. You don't act based on what you want, you act based on who you believe you are. If you see yourself as someone who quits, you'll quit. If you see yourself as someone who follows through, you'll find a way. Discipline is not about perfection, it's about consistency. Missing one day doesn't break you. Giving up because you missed one day does. Most people don't fail because they fall off track. They fail because they turn a mistake into an identity. I missed today, so what's the point? That single thought destroys more progress than any external obstacle ever could. Hollins reminds us that progress is rarely linear. Some days you'll feel unstoppable. Other days, everything will feel heavy. Discipline isn't about feeling good, it's about showing up anyway. The moment you stop expecting discipline to feel pleasant is the moment it becomes sustainable. And this is where the real shift happens. Because discipline is not about forcing yourself to do what you hate. It's about choosing what you want most over what you want now. And most people never learn how to make that choice. The hardest part of discipline is not starting. It's continuing when the initial excitement disappears, when the novelty wears off, when results don't show up fast enough. This is where most people quietly quit, not in failure, but in silence. They don't announce it. They don't consciously decide. They just slowly stop showing up. Peter Hollins explains that this moment is not accidental, it's predictable. Your brain is wired to chase immediate rewards, not delayed ones. When effort doesn't produce instant feedback, your mind interprets it as wasted energy. That's when doubt creeps in. That's when you start questioning whether it's worth it. And this is where self-discipline becomes less about action and more about emotional control. Most people believe discipline is about controlling behavior, but behavior is driven by emotion. If you don't learn how to sit with discomfort, boredom, frustration, and self-doubt, no habit will last. Discipline collapses not because the task is hard, but because the feelings attached to the task are uncomfortable. Hollins makes a powerful point here. You don't need to eliminate negative emotions. You need to stop obeying them. Just because you feel tired doesn't mean you're incapable. Just because you feel unmotivated doesn't mean today is meaningless. Feelings are temporary. Decisions create permanence. Self-discipline grows the moment you stop asking, "How do I feel?" and start asking, "What does this moment require from me?" This doesn't mean ignoring emotions. It means acknowledging them without letting them dictate your behavior. You can feel tired and still act. You can feel bored and still continue. You can feel resistance and still take the next step. Hollins introduces a subtle but life-changing idea. Discomfort is not a signal to stop. It's a signal that growth is happening. Think about every meaningful change you've ever made. None of it felt comfortable at first. The gym hurts before it helps. Focus feels draining before it feels empowering. Discipline feels restrictive before it feels freeing. The problem is that modern life has trained us to escape discomfort instantly. One tap, one scroll, one click, and the feeling is gone. But with it goes your opportunity to build resilience. Self-discipline is the ability to delay emotional relief in exchange for long-term fulfillment. And that ability is built in moments so small they seem insignificant. Hollins talks about how people wait for big turning points, a new year, a breakup, a failure, a moment of pain strong enough to force change. But discipline doesn't need drama. It needs repetition. Every time you choose to do the hard thing for 5 minutes instead of avoiding it, you are casting a vote for the person you want to become. Most people underestimate how much identity is shaped by these micro decisions. You don't wake up one day confident. You wake up after hundreds of small moments where you didn't quit.
One of the biggest enemies of self-discipline is the all-or-nothing mindset. People think if they can't do it perfectly, it's not worth doing at all. If they can't work out for an hour, they won't do 5 minutes. If they can't eat perfectly, they'll binge. If they miss one day, they'll abandon the habit completely. This mindset destroys progress because it confuses intensity with consistency. Hollins reminds us that consistency always beats intensity, always. Small actions repeated daily reshape your brain far more than occasional bursts of effort. The brain learns through repetition, not ambition. That's why 5-minute exercises matter. They don't exhaust you. They don't intimidate you. They don't trigger resistance. They build trust between you and yourself. And trust is the foundation of discipline. Every time you keep a promise, no matter how small, your brain starts believing you. It stops questioning your intentions. It stops resisting your plans. Discipline becomes easier, not because you're stronger, but because your mind no longer fights you. This is why broken promises are so damaging, not because of the action itself, but because of what it teaches your identity. I don't follow through. I can't be trusted. I always quit. Hollins makes it clear that discipline is deeply tied to self-respect. When you repeatedly abandon commitments, even small ones, you erode your own confidence. You start doubting yourself before you even begin. But the opposite is also true. When you show up consistently, even imperfectly, self-respect grows quietly. You don't need motivation anymore. You don't need external validation. You act because acting is who you are now. Another powerful idea in the book is separating discipline from mood. Most people wait until they feel like doing something. Disciplined people decide what needs to be done regardless of mood. This doesn't mean becoming robotic. It means understanding that mood follows action more often than action follows mood. You don't work because you feel good. You feel good because you worked. You don't feel confident before you act. You feel confident after you act. Hollins encourages treating discipline like brushing your teeth. You don't debate it. You don't negotiate. You don't wait for inspiration. You just do it because it's part of who you are. The more decisions you remove from your day, the more energy you preserve. Discipline thrives on simplicity. Too many choices create fatigue. Fatigue creates excuses. This is why routines are so powerful. They eliminate decision-making. They protect your willpower. They turn effort into habit. And habits, once formed, no longer require discipline. They run automatically. The ultimate goal of discipline is not to struggle forever. It's to struggle long enough for effort to disappear. But there's a phase most people aren't prepared for. The phase where nothing feels rewarding yet, where habits are still fragile, where identity hasn't fully shifted. This is the danger zone. This is where people say, "I've been doing this for weeks and nothing has changed." Hollins reminds us that results lag behind effort, always. The mind changes before the outcome does. discipline builds invisibly before it becomes visible. If you quit during this phase, you never get paid for the work you already did. This is why patience is a form of discipline. Staying consistent without immediate reward is one of the hardest skills to develop, but it's also the skill that separates people who change their lives from people who keep restarting. Discipline isn't dramatic, it's quiet. It doesn't announce itself, it just shows up again tomorrow. And tomorrow is where everything is decided.
Life doesn't test your discipline when everything is calm. It tests it when you're overwhelmed, tired, emotional, or discouraged. This is the moment when habits collapse and old patterns resurface. Not because you forgot what to do, but because you're looking for relief. Peter Hollins explains that temptation is not the enemy, it's information. It reveals what you reach for when you're stressed, bored, lonely, or uncertain. And most people don't fail because temptation is strong. They fail because they never prepared for it. Discipline isn't about saying no forever. It's about deciding in advance what matters more. The problem with relying on willpower in the moment is that emotions distort judgment. When you're tired, your standards drop. When you're stressed, your future seems less important. When you're discouraged, comfort feels urgent. This is why disciplined people don't negotiate with themselves in emotional moments. They decide ahead of time. They create rules, not debates, because debates always favor the easier option. Peter Hollins talks about the danger of treating discipline like a daily decision. The more often you ask yourself whether to do something, the more likely you are to skip it. Discipline becomes fragile when it depends on mood. Rules protect you from yourself. Not harsh rules, simple ones, non-negotiable ones. I show up for 5 minutes. I don't break promises to myself. I act even when I don't feel like it. These rules don't restrict freedom, they create it. Without structure, your mind defaults to comfort. With structure, effort becomes predictable, and predictability reduces resistance. Another critical idea in the book is that self-discipline isn't about self-denial, it's about self-direction. You're not saying no to pleasure, you're saying yes to purpose. Every undisciplined decision steals from your future. Every disciplined decision invests in it. But most people don't feel the cost immediately. The consequences of quitting are delayed. The consequences of discipline are also delayed, and humans struggle with delayed feedback. This is why Hollins emphasizes building awareness of long-term consequences. Not in a dramatic way, in a quiet, reflective way. What does this habit cost you in 5 years? What does this discipline give you in 5 years? When you make the future emotionally real, discipline becomes easier. When the future feels abstract, comfort wins. Another mistake people make is trying to be disciplined in everything at once. They overhaul their entire life, burn out, and then feel like failures. Hollins strongly warns against this. Discipline grows best when focused. Choose one area, one habit, one promise. Build trust there. Expand later.
Trying to fix everything at once creates overwhelm. Overwhelm leads to avoidance. Avoidance reinforces the belief that discipline isn't for you. But discipline is not a personality type. It's a muscle, and muscles grow under manageable resistance. Hollins also highlights the importance of recovery. Discipline is not about grinding non-stop. Burnout is not strength. Exhaustion doesn't build character. True discipline includes rest. It includes knowing when to stop. It includes sustainability. People who quit often aren't weak. They're exhausted from trying to be perfect. Consistency requires compassion. If you punish yourself for every mistake, discipline becomes associated with pain, and the mind will resist pain every time. Instead, disciplined people correct without drama. They notice the slip, they reset, they continue. No shame, no guilt, no identity crisis.
Another powerful concept in the book is separating your worth from your performance. Many people quit because they tie failure to who they are. One bad day becomes proof that they're incapable. Hollins reminds us that discipline is not a measure of value. It's a skill in progress. You don't stop learning to walk because you fell once. So why do you stop building habits because you missed a day? The disciplined mindset views setbacks as data, not judgment. What caused the slip? What can be adjusted? What can be simplified? Curiosity builds discipline. Criticism destroys it. The book also explores how discipline changes your relationship with time. Undisciplined people live for the present moment. Disciplined people live in alignment with the future they're building. This doesn't mean sacrificing joy, it means choosing joy that lasts. Discipline creates freedom in ways people don't expect. Freedom from guilt, freedom from regret, freedom from constantly starting over. When you trust yourself, life feels lighter. You don't need external pressure. You don't need reminders. You don't need motivation. You act because acting is normal now. This is when discipline stops feeling like effort and starts feeling like identity. And identity, once formed, is incredibly powerful. Because you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your habits. And habits don't care about your excuses.
Failure is not the opposite of discipline. Giving up is. Peter Hollins makes this painfully clear because most people confuse the two. They believe that disciplined people don't fail, don't slip, don't struggle. But disciplined people fail constantly. The difference is what they do next. Undisciplined people interpret failure as a verdict. Disciplined people interpret failure as feedback. Life will break your routines. Illness, stress, loss, uncertainty, exhaustion. These things don't ask for permission. And when they arrive, discipline is tested in a deeper way. Not in productivity, but in resilience. Hollins explains that this is where identity matters most. When your habits are tied to external conditions, they disappear the moment life becomes hard. But when habits are tied to who you believe you are, they bend without breaking. A disciplined person doesn't say, "I failed, so I stop." They say, "I failed, so I adjust." There's no drama in that response, no emotional spiral, just continuation. One of the most dangerous moments in self-improvement is the emotional low point, when you're disappointed in yourself, when progress feels slow, when comparison creeps in. This is when discipline feels pointless. This is also when it matters most. Hollins emphasizes that discipline during emotional lows is not about pushing harder, it's about reducing the standard while maintaining the action. You don't need to perform at your best. You need to show up at all. 5 minutes on your worst day matters more than an hour on your best. Because 5 minutes preserves identity. The moment you stop completely, your mind starts rewriting the story. I always quit. I can't stay consistent. This never works. But when you show up, even minimally, the story stays intact. I don't stop. I continue. I adapt. This is how discipline survives chaos. Another critical idea Hollins presents is that discipline changes how you see yourself long before it changes how others see you. Externally, progress may be invisible. Internally, something powerful is happening. You start trusting your word. You stop overpromising. You become careful about commitments because you know you'll honor them. This creates a quiet confidence, not arrogance, not motivation. Confidence rooted in evidence. And that confidence changes how you move through life.
You stop needing hype. You stop needing validation. You stop waiting for the perfect moment. You act because action is familiar. Hollins also addresses a subtle trap. using discipline as a way to punish yourself. People turn routines into penance. They grind harder when they feel guilty. They believe suffering equals progress. But discipline built on self-criticism doesn't last. Eventually, the mind rebels. Sustainable discipline comes from self-respect, not self-hate. You don't take care of something you despise, you take care of what you value. This is why compassion matters. Discipline without compassion turns into burnout. Compassion without discipline turns into stagnation. Growth lives in the balance. Hollins reminds us that self-discipline is not about becoming someone else, it's about removing the gap between who you are and who you want to be. Every disciplined action closes that gap slightly, and over time, that gap disappears. This is when discipline becomes effortless, not because effort is gone, but because resistance is. You no longer argue with yourself, you no longer negotiate, you no longer seek permission. You simply do what aligns with your identity. And this identity becomes your anchor during chaos. When life feels unstable, discipline becomes stability. When emotions are loud, discipline becomes clarity. When motivation disappears, discipline becomes direction. This is why disciplined people don't rely on inspiration. They rely on structure. And structure gives them freedom others don't understand. Freedom from regret, freedom from constant self-disappointment, freedom from the exhausting cycle of starting over. Hollins makes one thing clear. Discipline doesn't make life easy. It makes it manageable. It doesn't eliminate pain, it prevents unnecessary suffering. It doesn't guarantee success, it guarantees progress. And progress, sustained long enough, changes everything.
At some point, something quiet but permanent happens. Discipline stops feeling like something you're forcing yourself to do and starts feeling like something you would feel strange not doing. This is the shift most people never reach, not because it's impossible, but because it requires staying longer than comfort allows. Peter Hollins describes this moment as the point where discipline becomes self-respect. You no longer show up because you're chasing a result. You show up because not showing up would feel like betraying yourself. The struggle changes shape. It's no longer you versus the habit. It's you protecting the identity you've built. This is where quitting becomes emotionally expensive. Earlier in the journey, quitting feels relieving. It removes pressure, it offers comfort. But later, quitting feels heavy. It feels like loss. Because now you know who you are when you keep going. This is the difference between people who restart their lives every year and people who quietly transform them. Discipline reshapes your internal dialogue. You stop asking, "Can I do this?" and start saying, "This is what I do." The doubt doesn't disappear completely, but it loses authority. Hollins emphasizes that disciplined people still feel resistance. They just don't obey it. They understand that feelings are weather, not direction. Some days will feel heavy. Some days will feel pointless. Some days will feel lonely. Discipline doesn't eliminate those days. It gives them meaning. Because even on the worst days, you're still moving forward. This is what most people miss. Discipline doesn't change your life in one moment. It changes how you live every moment. It compounds quietly, invisibly, until one day you look back and realize you are no longer the person who used to quit. You don't need motivation anymore because your life is built on systems. You don't need pressure because your identity is strong. You don't need reminders because discipline is automatic. And this spills into everything. You communicate differently. You manage time differently. You make promises carefully. You respect your energy. You stop overcommitting and start following through. People notice, but they rarely know why. They think you're lucky. They think you're talented. They think you're naturally disciplined. They don't see the 5-minute decisions, the quiet consistency, the days you showed up when no one was watching. Hollins reminds us that discipline is invisible until it's undeniable.
And when it becomes undeniable, it's already too late to copy. Because discipline can't be borrowed, it must be built. This is why self-discipline is one of the most valuable skills you will ever develop. It applies everywhere: health, work, relationships, confidence, peace of mind. It doesn't make you perfect, it makes you reliable. And reliability is rare. In a world addicted to comfort, discipline is rebellion. In a world chasing shortcuts, discipline is patience. In a world driven by impulse, discipline is power. Not loud power, quiet power. The kind that doesn't announce itself. The kind that doesn't need approval. The kind that keeps going when applause disappears. Peter Hollins doesn't promise that discipline will make you extraordinary overnight. He promises something more honest, that discipline will give you control over your own life. And control is freedom. Freedom from excuses, freedom from regret, freedom from the exhausting cycle of wanting more but doing less. You don't need to become someone new. You need to become consistent with who you already want to be. 5 minutes at a time, one promise at a time, one day at a time. That's how discipline is built. That's how habits become identity. That's how ordinary people build extraordinary lives. If this message resonated with you, if you felt seen in these words, then you already know what comes next. Don't just watch. Act. Start small. Start today. Protect your future self from your present excuses. This is Mindset Hub Tube. If you're ready to build a stronger mind, a disciplined life, and a future you don't need to escape from, then like this video, share it with someone who needs it, and subscribe to the channel. Because discipline doesn't change your life in one day, but it does change who you become forever. I'll see you in the next video.